Greetings and welcome back to Gadfly Academy and the continuation of our book study of Paul Kingsnorth's Against the Machine on the Unmaking of Humanity. I'm really pleased to have you join us. Today I'm going to offer a few reflections on chapters 3 and 4. Hi there, quick ad for the You Are Not a Machine Gadfly Academy merch store, which is now open. You can find the link in the show notes. We have t-shirts like this one. We have You Are Not a Machine magnets for your car and for your refrigerator. Hoodies. This is the back of the hoodie, front of the hoodie. They're good quality, and they look really good, I think. Here's another t-shirt. This is the other t-shirt style. It's just got the front on the front of the t-shirt. And here's another hoodie, different color. We also have lighter colored hoodies. So all sorts of great stuff. Coffee mugs, hats, etc. So if you are looking for Christmas gifts for the tech skeptic in your life, the merch store is the place to go. And if you want to support this work too, take care. Enjoy the rest of the video. So in chapter 3, Kingsnorth, among other things, considers Oswald Spengler's assertion that we are living in what he called the Faustian Age, and what it would mean if Spengler's take on history is correct. So I'll begin here with a quote from Kingsnorth's book. What is a culture? It is a story that a people tells itself. Whether or not that story emerges from the earth and then creates a people to tell it, as Spengler believed, and I am tempted to believe too. We build and rebuild our cultures every day, in the stories we tell our children and ourselves, stories about who we are, where we came from, and where we're going, stories about the deeper meaning of human life, about what matters, about what we stand for and will not, stories ultimately about truth. When the story stops being told, the people will disappear, and vice versa. And when the story is turned in on itself, when its tellers lose faith in it, when it is mocked or abused from within, or when it simply burns itself out, then the people begins to dissolve, to come apart, to slough away from the center, to stumble, and eventually to fall. What is a culture? What is our culture? Who are we? Where are we going? What are the stories that we tell ourselves every day? In order to understand where we're going, we need to begin to understand what the stories we tell ourselves are. A question we may end up asking ourselves is, do I want to be living in the story in which I find myself? Where did my story begin? What are the values implicit in the story in which I find myself? What is the goal of this story? For many of us in the modern West, from the time we were children, we learned that we needed to study hard so we could get good grades, get into a good university, so we could get a good job. There was no story of the responsibilities that we have to our parents, to our communities, to the land on which we were born and nurtured. While the specifics might be different, the theme remained the same. Build a career so that you can provide for yourself, because no one else is going to help you. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of industriousness and self-reliance. That said, I know that humans do not thrive in isolation. For many reasons, we need one another. The story in which we find ourselves embedded, however, is one of hyper-individualism. It is a modern story, and one that does not serve us well. At the heart of Western culture is a religious faith that is the opposite of individualism. Kingsnorth does not discuss Christianity at length, but he does begin his book with it. In chapter 1, he recounts the story of the Garden of Eden, as well as refers to it at various times. Whether one is religious or not, Christianity is the origin story of Western culture. And if one wants to understand what has happened and is happening in the world, It's necessary to understand Christianity. Core to Christian faith is the idea of koinonia, the community of believers who shared life together, both struggling together as well as celebrating together. Although it did not survive the first century in its original form, we can read about that in Acts 2, the community of faith was central to the Christian way of life that eventually superseded the Roman Empire. It was from Christianity that our ideas of the value of all human life, the equality of all humans, the moral imperative to care for the sick and the needy, and so on, derive. Here's another quote from Against the Machine. The machine is not simply a vast soulless mechanism for accruing material wealth. It is, in some deadly fashion, a sacral object in itself. It is its own enchantment. Communities never exert themselves to the utmost, still less curtail the individual life, claims Mumford, except for what they regard as a religious end. Where such efforts and sacrifices seem to be made for purely economic advantages, it will turn out that this secular purpose has itself become a god, a sacred, libidinous object, whether identified as mammon or not. End quote. In Chapter 4, Kingsnorth attempts to describe what the machine actually is. He refers at length to Lewis Mumford's classic text, The Myth of the Machine. Perhaps the chief takeaway is that the machine is not a thing per se, but rather an inclination, a kind of spirit that works to shape the direction of history. A cornerstone of Christianity and of Western culture are Christ's words in Matthew 6, "You cannot serve God and mammon." Whether or not one is religious, it shouldn't be hard to see that at the heart of modern life is the pursuit of money. This is such a truism that it can be difficult to conceive of a world where money is not at the heart of society. That Christ warned about money in the first century makes it clear that it has always been an issue for humans. The culture that Christianity created, however, heeded Christ's words for the most part, and did not enthrone the pursuit of money at its heart. This society-wide emphasis on money is a modern phenomenon, which I believe developed alongside our hyper-individualism. If one can no longer expect help from one's community, all that one is left with is oneself and one's money. Obviously, money is a necessity in the modern world. I'm not suggesting that we abolish it. If, however, we believe that our society is on the wrong path, we would do well to question our society's value system, as well as the stories that we tell ourselves from which our value system derives. Here's another quote from Against the Machine. If the machine is a story, then the first step to its dismantling is neither monkey-wrenching nor revolution. It is to stop believing the story. The second step is to stop telling it to others. And the third is to begin the search for a better one. End quote. So at the end of Chapter 4, Kingsnorth offers the first and perhaps the most important step to making things better, rejecting the modern story. And within this story is the story of quote-unquote progress, of quote-unquote economic growth, lifestyle choices, of constructed identity, of life as a personal project, of materialism, of technology as savior, of the market as the organizing principle, and so on. If we hope to escape from the shackles of the machine world in which we find ourselves, the first step is to free our minds from its shackles. Once we recognize the importance of this step, we need to find new stories, new ways to speak about life that reflect actual reality. So that's it for today. I hope you're enjoying Against the Machine and finding that it provides a fresh perspective for understanding modern culture and history. I'm really glad that you came along for the ride, and I look forward to connecting with you moving forward. We started last Thursday in earnest with our book study. We're going kind of slowly, a couple of chapters, 2-3 chapters a week. If you want to find the schedule, you can do so in the show notes. But we meet most Thursday evenings at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time for about an hour. We live stream on the Gadfly Academy YouTube channel. Finally, the Gadfly Academy and You Are Not a Machine merch store is now officially open. You can find a link to the store in the show notes. You can get a head start on Christmas shopping and support this work at the same time. We've got t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, and more great gifts for the tech skeptics in your life. And if you've been looking for a way to support this work, that's a great way to do it. Also, I think that the merch looks really, really good. As always, if you haven't already, please sign up for the updates and download the How Do We Get Here reading list. There's the link in the show notes. As always, have a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week. Take care.